the hell is happening? What?
I'm not going to be able to protect you.
How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, better now to having seen you.
So first I want to start with congratulations on the movie. You did such a great job.
Thank you.
I have so many questions for you. I want to start with the first one, which is, you know how much of a fan I was of your father.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, you obviously must have spent a lot of time with him on his sets and learned so much. Is there one lesson that you took away from watching him work on set that you have still used to this day?
Oh my God. I mean, there are honestly so many. And he had a kind of relentless work effort. And I think that's kind of the first thing that I think of when I think of my dad, is my dad just kept pursuing and refining until the story was done. And I found an interview of my dad from like 1982 where he was said, no one works harder than I do. And when most people would say that, you would think, all right, dude. And with my dad, it was accurate. And he tried to light a fire under my ass from when I was a kid. And I think he was aware that I could easily just be some shitty kid from Beverly Hills who never did anything with his life. And I think it was really important to him that I push and I work and I like try to make a name for myself. And I credit that to him because I think I could have easily fallen by the wayside.
Well, you see so many examples of others that have, you know.
You know, it's a tricky life. I mean, you know, I heard someone say recently, you can live in their shadow or you can live in their light. And I try to live in his light.
That's a great statement.
Yeah.
So, man, I have so many things to talk about with the movie. One of the things that about this film is I'm so curious about the editing process, because you have so many actors and so much coverage. And anyway, I'm just curious what it was like putting this one together in the editing room as opposed to some of the other films you've made.
Well, I mean, when we were writing it, we had this like full-on True Detective murder board of like where every character was at any given moment, because since it's a continuous movie and 90 minutes of pure action, you know, in some ways it's like a John Wick movie. Like everything leads to the next beat, right? And you need to know where everybody is. So anytime someone walks into a hallway or up a stairs, it's like, who was there? Where were they? Where are they on the way to? Even if they're like the 80th person, you know, on the cast list. It meant when we got to editing, everything had its place. And it became more a question of, how do we think about time in editing? How do we think about music in editing? So the music editorial process was laborious and extensive, and it's the use of time. I really credit my editors with how they incorporated the clocks, the addition of like the times counting down, which was not in the script, the addition of like what's going on in Lorne's head, that was not in the script. These are things that the editors, in a weird way, because they weren't thinking about traditional cutting, it allowed them to think about these more creative ideas.
So what I'm so curious about is this the kind of movie that has no deleted scenes?
Actually, there's one deleted scene, and it was like a weird idea I had for the end of the movie that did not work. And I'm not sure if I'll even ever post it because it was just so wackadoo. But no, this is a movie where what we shot is what you see.
Yeah, it's so, I can't imagine. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. You have like 80 speaking roles in this movie.
Yeah.
The casting on this one had to have been its own like crazy, like how the F do you cast 80 speaking roles?
First, you have a brilliant casting director like John Papsadera, who does all of Chris Nolan's films. And, you know, if they had that casting Oscar 20 years ago, you know, he'd already have 5 of them, and he's just brilliant. But honestly, you try to find an actor who can capture that one piece of essence that you're looking for in each role. And, you know, you're looking at Cory Michael Smith and his ability to understand Chevy's physicality and the kind of fragility of ego, the ability for Ella Hunt to capture Gilda Radner's empathy, Lamorne Morris's understanding of how Garrett feels like an outsider. It's those little beats are the most important. And when I met Gabe LaBelle standing next to Steven Spielberg, I met this 21-year-old kid who was holding his own next to the greatest director of all time. And I thought, oh, I think I just met Lorne Michaels.
He's fantastic.
He's great.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking about the blocking of this movie when you have, like when there's, for example, there's a scene where Lorne is standing in front of all these different people and there's extras and like he's talking to Willem. like, how the F are you blocking this movie when you have so many, you know what I mean? Like, and because you obviously have a budget and a schedule. You can't be sitting there being like, let's work out how 50 people are going to stand.
You have to think of it like a musical. So it's like choreography. We have to organize where every character is at any given moment. And we shot the movie twice. We did the movie in prep, shooting it with stand-ins, cameras, stills, video, like figuring everything out. We built the set a month in advance so that we could actually do that. So that by the time we got to set, everything could be organized so we could have as quick a shoot as possible. And then on the day of, we would usually spend till noon just doing choreography. And the first time you watched a take, you know, you just want to bury your head in your hands and you have to just remain calm and confident that by noon, it's going to actually look like a scene.
So you see the shooting schedule in front of you.
Yeah.
What is the day that you have circled in terms of, I cannot wait to film this? And what is the day that's circled in terms of, how the F are we going to film this?
Oh my God. Okay. Cory Michael Smith, J.K. Simmons showdown. Cannot wait.
Sure.
Cannot fucking wait. And lived up in every single way. Which is probably how it is anytime I'm working with J.K. Simmons. And most intimidated, the opening oneer. You know, it's 4 minutes. You introduce every single character. You move through the entire set. Everything has to be in perfect place, including a llama. Like, it's just, that was intimidating.
How do you debate when you want to do a oneer and when you want to do like coverage? It's just fascinating. Listen, I love oneers. I don't think the average person knows what a oneer is, but they do feel the tension building without maybe knowing what it is.
My favorite oneer of all time is in Point Break. You know, the first time that Keanu goes to the FBI and he's introduced to every character, you know, it's like the scene where they're like, yeah, you know, are you healthy? It's like, I take the skin off chicken. Like that scene, it's an invisible oneer. You don't realize it's a oneer. It is. That entire sequence, it starts outside, it goes through the whole bullpen, and, you know, it kind of shows what a genius Bigelow is that it's not a look at me oneer. And it's when you can actually make the camera feel like a human being who's just walking through, head on a swivel, picking up information as you go.
So next year is Collider's 20th birthday, and it is also the 20th anniversary.
Who feels old? Who feels old?
I listen, but what I'm saying is it was 20 years ago that you started with thank you for, wait, did I say it wrong?
Thank you for smoking?
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for not smoking.
That's what everybody says, so it doesn't matter.
I butchered it in my brain, but what has it been like for you? And now you probably don't think back that often, but like it's 20 years for you, it's 20 years for me. I can't believe where I'm at 20 years later. I'm just curious what it's like for you, thinking where you started and what you're now doing.
When I got into this gig, all I dreamed was that I could just make one movie after another. I mean, that was it. I just wanted to be on set, tell stories. So the idea that 25 years ago, I was at this film festival with a short film, and 20 years ago, I was here with Thank You for Smoking. I'm just glad that I'm still standing. I'm happy I get to still make movies. I still get to make personal movies. I think that was my greatest fear when I was younger, is that I would get to make a couple personal movies and then that would be it. And I look back at my career right now and I think, I know I made every single one of my films. Whether they were good, bad, did well, did horribly, I know why I made them. And I'm really proud of that. And I hope 20 years from now, I can still say the same thing.
Sir, I really want to say congratulations on this movie. You did such great work.